quadrant equal clarity. On the E side, as you can see, right, the E, on the left-hand side, the E stands for employee. Employee look for security, right, in a job. They look for safety with good pay and excellent benefits. And I was just reviewing earlier with one of my clients who just left her job, and we were going over her last pay stub, and we was looking at all the deductions and all they took out for the health insurance and the insurance to cover the insurance. I said, did you know they were taking out all this money from you? She said, no, I didn't know. I just get the paycheck and, I don't even look at the stuff. But now she realized after working for 28 years on the job that most of her money was going to different places, and she was the one that's paying for the health insurance. The company may, of course, they add some monies to that, but the bulk of it came out of her paycheck, right? She was the one putting money towards her retirement. It wasn't the company giving her money. It was coming out of her paycheck. And those are some of the things that some people say when they have a good job and good benefits, what keeps them on the job, because of those two factors: retirement plans and health insurance. They don't know they're the ones paying for it most of the times. So when you look at the S, Robert Kiyosaki talks about independence, self-employed. So someone go from having a job to now owning a job, right? They may set up their mom and pop store, or, they're just working from home and they're working just by themselves. So something goes wrong as an independent professional or a small business owner. If something goes wrong, you're the one generating the income. Your income is from uno. So if you're sick, you're on vacation, or something, or you just no clients, there's no income, right? So sometimes people have that fear of going from the security side, which is being an employee, to becoming self-employed. Nothing wrong with being self-employed, but it doesn't get you to financial independence, because your income is limited. If your income 100% is from one source, your income is limited. So this is why I love this cash flow quadrant. And I read that book over probably 20 something years ago. And that's when 20 years ago I said, oh no, I'm going to build me a business. I'm going to build me an empire. And I did. So on the B side, on the right side of the quadrant, you have wealth building. That's when you know you have a business. You're looking for the best people to join your team, right? Some people call it hire. Some people call it recruit. Same thing. If you don't have that, then you don't have a business. You're self-employed. So now you can have more independence, because as I'm sitting here talking to you, other people are working and money is still being made, right? So on this side, you also have an investor. That's the I. That's where financial freedom really comes in, when you're on the right side, which is the B and I side. So on the I, as an investor, you have a return on your investment. So whether you're sleeping, whether you're on vacation, whether you're sick, you're working, or you're just here on Zoom and we're having a good time, money is making money. All right? So as Robert Kiyosaki said, in order for you to reach financial independence, you must be on the right side of the quadrant. That's where the clarity is. That's where you know that you are going to be able to say, I can be in Rome for 2 months and never have to worry about money. The bills are on auto pay, right? You don't have to worry about whether they're going to get paid. So with that, being on the B and I side, as we work from getting over from the self-employed side to the B and I side, sometimes, fear kicks in. Because some people say, well, I don't know if I want to take that kind of risk. But without the risk, there's no reward. So some people actually are afraid that if they go on the B side and the I side, they may not have the support. And a lot of times, some small businesses fail based on the Department of Labor stats. Last time I looked at it, it says 25% of a small business that start up fail within the first year. And then another 25 of that within the first 3 years. And then you have another 25% of that fail within 5 years. And why is that? It's only because of lack of support and not having the right clarity, the right information, and also because most people don't know how money works. So fear kicks in and it prevents you from learning about how money really works so that you can have that clarity. Any questions on that? Take yourself off mute if you have any questions, because I can't see you while I'm presenting. Nope. Any comments?
It's never too late to move onto the right side.
Okay.
As long as you can breathe and get up and keep working.
That's right. It's never too late to move to the right side. There you go. Having that clarity, right? So there are what you call tax strategy. So based on where you are and where you earn, right, is where your tax bracket is. So as you know, an employee, there we go, who works for others, earn wages by trading time for money. An employee is in the highest tax bracket. I don't know if that surprised you, but you may already know this. But an employee who makes the least amount of money is in the highest tax bracket? Something is wrong with that. They have limited deductions. And their income is taxed first, right? It comes out before you even get the paycheck. That's why there is 58% of Americans reported living paycheck to paycheck. It's a large number. So as a self-employed person, now you own, the job, and you also trade time for money, but you have more control over your work. You also have more write-offs, right? Because now you're in a 1099 situation where you can have tax write-off like a business owner does, right? You're still in a high tax bracket though. Trading time for money. But as a business owner, here's what happened when you get on the B and I side. On the business side, you actually control your taxes. When you move into the S Corp versus, just being on the LLC side, right? Nothing wrong with having the L. We all need to have the LLC. I have LLC, right? And that's all it is that it just helps you to be able to not have to get liability of somebody suing you, right? So the business is liable, not you. But here's where